Hello.
We are Project Communication, and we are perfectly imperfect.
So today we're going to be talking about what we can do and why it is important when we are being bullied or when we see somebody being bullied. Okay? So the very first thing, it's not your fault.
Absolutely.
Ask them to literally step aside and leave you alone. If they don't step aside and they don't leave you alone, you turn and walk away and you stand up straight, your head is held high because they want you to crumble under their scrutiny. Sometimes they know what they're doing and sometimes they don't, but it doesn't matter. Disrespect is disrespect. And remember, it is not your fault. Go to a trusted friend, a parent, an adult. Document it in full detail and date it. Now, with that said, if it continues to happen, is the adult, is the person that you're talking to giving you sound advice as to how to stop this? Remember, it's not your fault. Is the confidant giving you ways to handle the situation? Seek counsel with those in charge of school, employment, home, or in the outside life, etc. But what if the bully is your superior?
We're going to take a step away for just a moment. And when we come back, Linda and Sherry are going to do a little role playing.
She's a good actor. Sherry,
Yes.
I've been hearing through the grapevine that you are not a team player.
Oh, can you elaborate on that a little more?
They don't want to have their names mentioned, and I can't give you specifics, but they're just not happy with your performance and working with them.
Oh, so can you explain without naming their names, a general idea of what it is they're not liking?
Not really, because they came in confidence and they don't want it to be repeated. But as a superior, I felt I needed to address this with you so maybe you can find ways to change things in the environment.
It's interesting that they have not come to me and mentioned anything that they are upset about.
Why do you suppose that is?
I do not know.
Are you approachable?
I believe I am approachable. When I have a good idea. When would be a good time that you could maybe set up a meeting with us? You could be present as well, and we can discuss these things further and get down to the bottom line, what the issues are.
I would have to discuss that with them. I highly doubt that they want to go that route, but I will check it out.
I appreciate that. I will say that without knowing the reasons that they are unhappy going forward, maybe this isn't the best place for me to be.
And that's possibly true.
Yes, it is. So.
Okay, we're back. I hope you noticed that in this mock-up of a supervisor, Linda, speaking with an employee, Sherry, that while at first the supervisor came to Sherry with a concern about workplace environment, she offered nothing that was constructive or helpful. She only offered that there was a problem, when Sherry asked for details, she gave nothing. She gave no examples, nothing constructive, and actually, I think was left Sherry feeling not only was she being criticized, but she had no way of improving, no way of getting any kind of feedback, no way of resolving anything. In other words, she was being bullied by the supervisor, and even though they weren't present, by her coworkers. Sherry, do you want to kind of share how you kind of felt during that experience?
I felt that there was really no solution to the problem. And without a solution to the problem, I can't do my job.
Well, and also the supervisor was expecting her to correct something that she had no idea what the problem was.
Right.
Sherry offered a solution, which was to meet with the coworkers and the supervisor, but it was clear the supervisor was not offering any kind of meeting or even halfway. This is an example of something that's called covert bullying, where it's under the table, it's covered up, and that's sometimes kind of hard to see. Somebody might not necessarily see that as bullying, but it's as much bullying as if she had been shoved into a locker, if Sherry had been shoved into a locker. That overt bullying is often very easy to spot. Covert bullying is not as easy to spot, but it's out there.
And had this been a real event, I would have felt that everyone was against me. I would have been successfully bullied. My first reaction would be to go to them directly and ask what we can do to fix the problem. So
Without knowing what the problem was.
right.
If there even was a problem with her coworkers.
Maybe in reality I would have just said, okay, I'm giving you my 2 weeks notice. I'll quit tomorrow.
Yeah. Here, I'll help you out the door now.
So
And you know, one of the problems, the solutions, or what can we do, is something that Sherry did display. She tried to take control, or take whatever power she could in that, to empower herself in that situation. And that's something that Linda summarized in the first section, to step away. If the bully won't leave you alone, you step away. And Sherry couldn't step away in that situation, but she could try to empower herself by asking for a meeting. So in whatever the situation is, you try to establish your power however you can.
right.
Sometimes that's turning things back not against, but onto the bully. However you can make that work.
A bully is expecting maybe consciously or subconsciously, they are expecting their victim to cower and be intimidated, and therefore be subordinate to them, the higher person in charge. And when you don't allow that, that power is taken away.
Yeah, so stand up strong. Hold that head up, because they're expecting you to crumble like this, to buckle underneath their weight, their bullying. Stand up. And when you're walking away, you walk away with a strong stride. Even though your knees are buckling
Yes.
and they're banging together, you walk away with your back straight, head held high, with a strong stride.
Yeah, we're talking about, in this case, an adult victim of bullying. There are kids. It's harder for kids to recognize a bully, especially in a covert situation. But it's still important for a child to know that they can go to someone to get help, an adult hopefully, that can stand up for them and turn that power back onto the child who's being victimized, can show them how to turn that power back onto themselves.
We kind of go back to when I was in the foster home, and my foster mother was the first and only person that literally stood up for me when I was being bullied, and she unknowingly helped me take that control back. So adults need to stand up and be that person.
One of the things that we wanted to address in this video in particular about bullying was why bullies bully.
Or the other thing too is why we don't report.
Yeah.
Why we don't
Yes.
report. So
Yes, and that I think fits in with this a little bit why in
yes.
that role-playing activity.
Yeah.
Because we've mistakenly let the bully think that they do have all the power, and that just fuels them even more. But it's easier said than done.
And I think in the role-playing situation, when Sherry did turn it back onto the supervisor, onto Linda, that told Linda she didn't have the power, that Sherry wasn't going to just cave in.
Right.
So that telling the bully in one way or another that you don't have the power over
Right.
me.
And then I noticed that when she did that, I straightened my spine just a little bit more. Because I'm the supervisor.
I caught that,
Yeah.
and I thought, oh,
Yeah. Oh.
now you're feeling a little bit vulnerable. Trying to compensate now.
Bullies often operate with the idea that they do have all the power. And especially if they're a bully that has an entourage or a gang. And their gang is with them because their gang doesn't want to be bullied. The members of the gang want to have that power that the leader, the head bully, the leader of the gang has.
Right.
And so by being part of the entourage, by being part of the gang, number one, they get some of that reflected power, but also they kind of protect themselves from being bullied.
Yeah, they're going to stay with the individual who seems to have all the power and keep them safe from being bullied themselves. But they're eventually going to get bullied because the bully usually
Uses them.
uses them. Yeah, everybody's got a turn to be bullied.
Right.
Ideas? Thoughts?
Yes, I had one, but it just kind of flew right over there. So
It's out there somewhere.
I think that if you can't, that's what I was going to say. If you can't beat them, join them. I think that's kind of the mentality. It's like, okay, this is really our only choice. We either can be victim or we can just join. So,
Well, and the reasons that people do, that part of the reason for joining the gang is that fear. But some people become bullies out of fear.
right.
Yes.
And,
Right.
they're afraid that they're going to be bullied, so they kind of beat the other bullies out to the punch, and they bully somebody else.
Right, right.
And we came up with a list of a whole bunch of reasons why people are bullies.
Right.
And, we talked, one of course is the stereotypical, they were bullied themselves.
Right. And that's true sometimes, but not always. It doesn't always play as big of a part in it as some may think or may have thought in the past. You can be bullied and become a bully, but you could have a great childhood and still be a bully.
Well, okay. So when we were putting this all together and we started, messaging back and forth, and I know we were at a restaurant and I was in this faraway gaze, and Sherry goes, "What you doing? Where are you?" And I says, "Well, I'm deep in thought."
She does
And
that often.
at least I'm thinking.
Yes.
But what I started to remember was that I had unintentionally bullied somebody, and I, as I'm remembering that incident and how I felt about it, because I didn't know that's what I was doing, but it was coming from a place of very low self-esteem in a situation that everybody seemed to be at the top and I was at the bottom. And it wasn't until probably 45 years later that classmate came up to me at our class reunion and confronted me. And I didn't know anything about it. I didn't recognize it until he stood there in front of me. And he said, I always thought you were a good person. He said, but that bullying took me a long time to get over in my adulthood. And that I didn't know what to say because I didn't see it as bullying. I was trying to protect myself. And so we don't always recognize it.
Right. I think we've mentioned bullies bully for power, control, social status, emotional issues, and stress. I think that kind of goes back to how they're treated at home or how they were or their past experiences. But like we said, it's not always a matter of that. And then it keeps coming up. Insecurity and low self-esteem keep coming up in the research and the stuff that I've been reading. And that's just really, if you have both of them, that's a lethal combination. Insecurity makes you a target and also can lead to you wanting to build yourself up by being in charge and being a bully. So, yeah.
I think the one thing the one hinge for just about every bully I've ever encountered, either personally or an observation, is the power, the feeling of power, the actual power, and it's either the power generally, the power over the victim, the power over the gang that you have. That seems to be the one thing, whether it's fear of losing the power or feeling the power to conquer your low self-esteem, or just the power to rise up in the social status, that to whatever your situation is. If you were a bullied child, bullied in your past, and you want to prove yourself, there is power in conquering someone else. And I think that power is that hinge for all bullies, regardless of the past experiences, regardless of where they are socially, regardless of whether it's a workplace or a school situation or a neighborhood situation. That's the one commonality in all bullies.
And we're forgetting one, or maybe we're not forgetting, one important thing is that basic to all misbehavior, it feels good to do it. It does. It feels good to be in power. It feels good to be in control. It feels good to jump on the couch, even though you've been told 10,000 times to stop. You know that.
Speaking from experience.
Yeah. Yes. It feels good, and I think bullies bully because they can. And that's another thing to really take into consideration. They've won. They've gotten their way by doing it again and again. Now, if you tell a bully no, you're going to have some, can I say that word? HE double hockey sticks to deal with. But eventually, when they don't win.
Well, again, let's go back to that.
I hate to think of it as winning and losing, but
but when people stand, okay, let's take it back to a school setting. There are teacher bullies and there are classmate bullies. And if you stand up for yourself, or when you stand up for yourself, And that one bully is picking on you and going at you and going at you and will not relent even though you're ignoring them and you're walking away. And you turn around and you punch them. Now, I didn't do the punching, but I know somebody who did, because they had pushed it to the point where it was unbearable. Now, who gets disciplined?
Yep.
The bully wins because he didn't swing a punch.
Nope.
And we're expected to resolve these things through our words. But so many of the schools are not dealing with this. Parents are not dealing with it. I've actually heard one parent say, well, it will make them stronger.
Yeah.
So the bully gets the reward, and the one who is retaliated gets the punishment. That needs to stop.
And what does that do to them? Their self-esteem is lowered and lowered. They get angrier and angrier.
Yeah.
Vicious cycle.
Right. So I think as a society, as adults, we need to call this behavior out. No excuses. If you have a problem with low self-esteem and all the excuses, fine. Let's deal with it. Let's get you help, but stop. This is not how we raise responsible adults. In this society, we have fewer responsible adults than we used to. And, we need to, it's got to stop.
We need to
deal
stop
with it.
bullying in the highest places. Absolutely. Something that I remember doing in preschool and trainings for it is surrounding this topic. When a child as young as 3 or 4 is getting bullied, sometimes they don't always understand. We can't allow them to be hitting.
Right.
I think maybe I could speak for me. I think I've seen some retaliation and kind of tried to not because I'm like, that kind of
trying to help it working it out.
So there's that, and it's not okay to ever teach them to take things out physically. But what I was going to say, I digress again. We would teach the kids just to look at the person and say, stop, and use their hands. Stop, I do not like that. And no, we're not using sweetsy words. We're saying, stop, I do not like that. And then, of course, we have the other child going, he told me I don't like that. Well, they don't. So there's that. We need to be assertive. We need to teach them assertiveness.
We do.
And it's not always okay.
Yeah. And again, parents of the bullies, they stop using excuses. If the parents are bullies, then they need to be held accountable too.
I will say it's very painful though I don't think my kids were really bullies, but it is very painful for most parents to hear their child is a bully.
Right.
Being a bully.
Yeah.
There's that too. That's hard.
Yeah. Yeah.
One of the things that we're going to be talking about, we'll be exploring more about this in the next video, along with what we can learn from bullies, which is an interesting topic that when we thought of that, we all kind of looked at each other and went, whoa, that's an idea.
It's kind of abstract.
That really made us stop talking. And if you've ever been around us, that takes a lot.
We don't do that often.
We don't do that often. But the difference between, and Sherry touched on it, the difference between bullying and assertiveness. And a little bit more on the difference between overt and covert bullying. So we'll be working on that in the next video that we'll be posting. Why bullies bully and what we can learn from them. And then we'll have one more video after that we hope will kind of wrap it all up.
Wrap it up.
Which, and conversations I've had with a few people, that one might be a little controversial.
Yeah. It might
Yeah, it
be.
might be.
Yeah,
Yeah, just a little.
just a little. So we won't tell you what that one's going to be about until our next video is ready to go. So,
I just would like to add too that bullying is often confused with constructive criticism.
Yes.
You know, and telling anybody, I guess, you know, that something was wrong or that the job wasn't done completely right. That's not bullying in and of itself. You know, how it's said, I guess, could be. So
I think that's a part of what we need to address too, is you can tell someone you're not doing the job correctly, or you're not doing the job correctly.
exactly.
There's a lot of,
Yeah.
there's a lot in how we say things.
It's the
that
body
makes a
language
difference.
and that voice inflection and that facial.
And unlike Supervisor Linda,
Yes.
when you are giving good feedback, when you give good examples and you work to be partners with the person in how to improve,
Right.
that makes a difference between
yeah.
good feedback and bullying.
Yeah.
So we'll work on more of that coming up in the next video. But
a
for
hot
now,
topic.
yes, for
Yeah.
now, we hope that you were able to glean something out of this video, and hope that you will stay tuned for the next video, which we plan on producing in about a week. And for now,
We are Project Communication, and we are perfectly imperfect.
Thanks for watching. Please leave a comment. Please like and subscribe to the videos that we produce, and share this video and our other videos with everybody.
Spread us far and wide.
Yes, indeed.
Far and
Yes,
wide.
indeed.
Yes.
Thanks again for watching.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And remember, spray sunshine. They hid my water bottle.
I did hide it this time.
I love that.
There's too much paper down here to get wet.
Oh, sure. Just don't want to mess up your hair.
Oh, yeah, right.
Have a great week.
Thank you. Bye.
We're all beads on one string. Every man, every woman, boy and girl. Beads on one string. We're one world. I touch, you touch. We feel so much. We hurt and we heal. We know love is real. You dream, well I dream. We plan, sometimes scheme. Oh, how we love to eat. And everyone has to sleep, 'cause we're all beads on one string. Every